Hello everyone, welcome back to another cinematic adventure. Today we're diving into Lokah Chapter 1, Chandra. This mouthful of a movie is a 2025 superhero film that's been generating quite the sensation. It is directed by Dominic Aaron and produced by Dulquer Salman. This film marks the first installment in the ambitious Lokah Cinematic Universe. Now, let me be honest with you. When I first heard about another superhero film coming out of Mollywood, and after my lukewarm experience with Mina Al-Murali, I wasn't exactly dying to see this one. And if you add to that these films represents a departure from what makes Malayalam cinema stand out, its commitment to real human stories, you can see where my skepticism is coming from. But I couldn't have been more wrong. It's been ages since I left the cinema feeling this excited. Aaron has crafted something that feels genuinely magical. It is a story that stays both culturally specific, but at the same time universally appealing. What makes Lokah truly special is how it cleverly reimagines traditional Kerala folklore for modern audiences. The film draws inspiration from the legend of Kalliyankattu Neeli, a fascinating piece of Kerala's rich mythological tapestry brought to life with universal appeal. I absolutely love this modern take on folk tales. Rather than treating Kerala's legends as museum pieces, the film just breathes new life into them, making them relevant for contemporary audiences while respecting the cultural significance. What I found impressive is that even for me, who didn't grow with any Keralan cultural backdrop, I was still able to grasp the significance and the gravity of the legends underpinning the story. Now, let's move on to the direction and the screenplay. Dominic Aaron establishes himself here as a director with genuine vision. The screenplay is sharp, striking a delicate balance between myth and modernity. The pacing is just spot on. From the first scene to the last scene, it keeps you engaged, hooked from start to finish. There is never a dull moment to be found in this movie. It's just action after action. But yes, of course, there are some breathing times for you to have a laugh or to just ponder on what you just learned about the movie. And yes, of course, it is a superhero movie. It is bound to have fantasy and impressive feats. However, the film keeps on the authenticity of the story in its own terms, because this film doesn't abandon realism entirely. It rather just creates a new world where the fantastical elements feel grounded and very well earned. Now, talking about the visual style and action, let me tell you about the action sequences. They are honestly spectacular. Unlike many other Indian movie attempts at showing off big fights, Lokah delivers set pieces that are inventive, dynamic, engaging, and genuinely thrilling by drawing in the supernatural characteristics of the participants. What I really appreciated too was the film's willingness to show the consequences of violence. There is blood and there are injuries, and this just adds another layer of realism to the fantasy world. The film doesn't sanitize its actions, which actually makes the stakes feel genuinely high. In this case, the cinematography deserves special mention too. The palette shifts beautifully between the mundane everyday life in a big Indian city and the more fantastical elements of the story, showcased through flashbacks and animated sequences that I think are very well done. The camera work during the action sequences is coherent and purposeful. There are no excessive shaking cams or disorienting cuts here and there just to accommodate for the actors. None of that. These action sequences honestly feel like it was done in a single cut. Now, to talk about the music and the sound design, I have to say that the soundtrack is an absolute triumph. It cleverly remixes traditional Malayalam musical elements with more modern sounds, creating something that feels nostalgic and fresh, again, just to keep on with the general theme of the movie, Kerala folklore, but modern. What impressed me the most was how seamlessly the music integrates with the storytelling. Each one of these musical cues enhances the emotional impact of the scene that it belongs to without ever feeling intrusive or manipulative. You know, when the directors try to manipulate you saying, oh, this is a sad song, so this is a sad moment. None of this in this movie. Something that I really appreciate, because I really hate those in other movies, is that there are no exaggerated dance numbers that hold the narrative. Instead, there are some transitional songs that actually propel the story forward. The sound design is equally impressive. especially during the action sequences, where the sonic landscape helps to sell the impact of every punch, every kick, and every supernatural power that you witness from the performances. About the performances. The casting, I think, is just spot on across the board. Kalyani leads the film, and while I've previously felt that her emotional range as an actress is somewhat limited, in this movie, her character doesn't demand excessive emotional gymnastics. She's a superhero after all. It just makes it a perfect fit for her talents. And I must mention, apparently she performed all her stunts on her own, which is quite remarkable, to be honest. On the other side, Naslen and his crew, Arun Kurian and Chandu Salim Kumar, provide the very well-timed comical relief without ever derailing the film's momentum. Their goofiness just acts as a perfect counterbalance to the more intense moments. I was actually laughing during some scenes, so this is good, okay? As for the villain, Sandy Master makes for a compelling antagonist that you should probably hate from the moment he shows up in the first time, so that's just what makes him so good, so well-fitting for this role. I must also give special praise to the child actor in the film. Her performance in the action sequences was nothing short of perfect. Now, this movie is the cornerstone for something bigger. So let me discuss something that had me positively giddy. The universe building. Lokah Chapter 1 clearly takes an inspiration from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it does so with a distinct Malayalam flavor. The film is peppered with cameos from established Malayalam stars. And these are not just fan service, just to get the audience riled up. But these are carefully placed narrative threads setting the stage for future installments. It suggests exciting possibilities for where this universe might go next. And without giving away spoilers, I have to tell you that Subin Sahir's appearance genuinely gave me chills. I just like him as an actor, so I was excited to see him in this universe. And if you're from Kerala, you'll want to pay extra attention. There are clever connections to other seemingly unrelated films and even soap operas that you might have watched as a kid. These references, I think it just adds another layer of cultural meta-commentary that, in my opinion, is quite brilliant. Now, no film is perfect, and Lokah does have its tiny shortcomings. For about half the film, I struggled to identify a clear antagonist. While this ambiguity doesn't significantly derail from the overall experience, a more defined enemy, I think, would have sharpened the narrative focus. Not a big deal, but I was genuinely wondering, okay, so who is the bad guy? There are a few, but it's a bit hard to identify who is actually the main one. Additionally, several plot threads remain unexplored, though this is somewhat forgivable considering the film's role in establishing a new cinematic universe. After all, not everything needs to be resolved in the first chapter, and remember, this is chapter 1. And about that, this is a small pet peeve on my own. I'm not fond of being explicitly told that film is chapter 1 or chapter 2. I honestly just prefer the sequels to be released close enough to each other so that us as the audience can just piece together the connections themselves. After all, again, you never saw Hulk Part 1 or Iron Man Chapter 2, right? Taking everything into account, one of Lokah's greatest strengths is the perfect balance between drama, action, and comedy. No single genre elements overshadow the others. It creates a viewing experience that is just emotionally varied and, as I said, constantly engaging. So you are entertained, you laugh, and there are action sequences for you to enjoy. Everything in one movie. The dramatic moments land with emotional resonance. The action sequences thrill without becoming exhausting, and the comedy provides the necessary relief without undermining the stakes in the movie. This is a delicate balancing act that the film just does perfectly. Now, as far as my conclusion and recommendation, Lokah Chapter 1 represents an exciting new direction for Malayalam cinema, one that honors the industry's strengths while boldly exploring new territory. It manages to be both culturally specific and universally appealing, technically impressive and emotionally resonant. A very good film overall. The film left me with that excitement I felt when I was watching the early Marvel films. The sense of witnessing something that is just beginning and it's about to be very special. So, what's my verdict? This film is firmly in the don't miss it category, and probably on the watch multiple times list. I will be recommending these ones to my friends and family back in Mexico. This movie is that good. So, whether you're a fan of superhero or action films, a fan of Malayalam cinema, or just simply appreciate thoughtful filmmaking that balances spectacle with substance, Lokah Chapter 1, Chandra deserves your attention. So hey, this is my review. What did you think about the movie? Are you excited about this new Malayalam superhero universe, or do you think it's too much of a Marvel copy to enjoy it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. And yes, pretty much like Marvel movies, stay until the end for both end credit scenes.